Are we on, David? Yes, sir. Good. Good evening, everyone. And I think before we start our meeting, I believe, Matt, you wanted to lead us in an invocation tonight?
Sure. All right. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the chance to meet together tonight to do the City of Milton's business. We're all here, Lord, because you allow us to govern according to your laws and your will and to do the right thing for our constituents and to lead that will inspire and to provide hope and to provide opportunity as well as anything for all generations from those who are older to those who are being born. Lord, we thank you for the chance to be here and we keep you in mind. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Matt. Okay, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Milton City Council for Monday, October 22nd to order. Sudie, if you'll please call roll and make general announcements.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll be happy to call roll for the October 22nd, 2018 regular meeting. I would like to remind those in attendance to please silence all cell phones at this time. All speakers will please identify themselves by name, address, and organization if you desire to make a public comment card. City Council may allow public comment on either an agenda item or general public comment from a representative of an organized group or association. If you are representing such an organization, please provide the city clerk with an affidavit stating you have the authority to speak on behalf of that organization. Demonstration of any sort within the chamber is prohibited, so please refrain from any applause, cheering, booing, outbursts, or dialogue with any person speaking. Anyone in violation will be asked to leave. As I call roll this evening, please confirm your attendance. Mayor Joe Lockwood.
Here.
Councilmember Peyton Jamison.
Here.
Councilmember Matt Kuntz.
Here.
Councilmember Laura Bentley.
Here.
Councilmember Joe Longoria.
Here.
Councilmember Rick Morick.
Here.
Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. And Sudie, if you'll please sound the next item.
Our next item this evening is approval of the meeting agenda. Agenda item number 18288.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
Mayor, I move that we approve the agenda as prepared.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Longoria with a second from Councilmember Morrig to approve the agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Sudie, do we have any public comment?
We do not, sir.
Okay. And if we could move on to the consent agenda, if you would read those items.
First item is approval of the October 8th, 2018 regular City Council meeting minutes. Agenda item number 18289. Next is approval of a professional services agreement with InterDev, LLC, to provide comprehensive IT and GIS management services. Agenda item number 18290. Next is approval of the audit engagement letter with Malden and Jenkins, LLC, to audit the city's financial statements for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2018. Agenda item number 18291. Our fourth and final consent agenda item this evening is approval of the following subdivision plats. Larry D. and Marilyn Willis, land lot 954, 13475 Birmingham Highway. Minor plat, 3 lots, 7.66 total acres, 0.39 lots per acre. Next, Brenda E. Lee, land lot 690, 14505 Cogburn Road. Minor plat, 3 lots, 5.35 total acres, 0.56 lots per acre. Next is Boone Wrong, land lots 772 and 813, 14080 Freemanville Road. Minor plat, 2 lots, 2.89 total acres, 0.69 lots per acre. Last is Reese Farm, land lot 674, 14520 Thompson Road. Minor plat, 3 lots, 8.26 total acres, 0.36 lots per acre. This is agenda item number 18292.
Okay, thank you, Sudi. I'll open up. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda for approval?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion for approval from Councilmember Morrig with a second from Councilmember Longoria. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimous, Sudi. Okay, we'll move on to reports and presentations. Sudi, if you'll please sound the first item.
Our first item, proclamation recognizing Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This is being presented by Councilmember Joe Longoria and Councilmember Rick Morrick.
So we'll read the proclamation first and then add some comments afterwards. Whereas October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and
whereas breast cancer is the second most common cancer among women after skin cancer, and
whereas 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer at some point in their life, and
whereas over 260,000 women and approximately 2,600 men will likely be diagnosed with breast cancer in 2018, and about 40,000 women will die from the disease, and
whereas in 2018 there are more than 2.8 million women with a history of breast cancer in the United States. This includes women currently being treated and women who have finished treatment, and
whereas every woman is at risk for breast cancer, even if she has no family history or other risk factors of the disease, and
whereas the percentage of survivors 5 years or more after being diagnosed is now 89.7% because of the effort of various organizations have made regular contributions to spreading breast cancer awareness through outreach, education, and screening programs, and have empowered women with the life-saving message of early detection and the importance of having annual mammograms.
now therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council of the City of Milton, Georgia, hereby dedicate and proclaim October as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Milton, and call this observation to the attention of all of our citizens, given under my hand and the seal of the City of Milton, Georgia, on this 22nd day of October 2018.
So this is the third year that I've actually participated in reading this proclamation. The city has actually provided this proclamation for longer than that. It was 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, my wife got diagnosed with breast cancer, and as everybody says, your life changes after that. And normally she's here for this presentation, but the actual good news is that she's out playing tennis and didn't know about it until the last minute. So when I asked her to show up, she said, "Sorry, Joe, I've got to play tennis," which, is a good end to the story, because through early detection and the program that she went through at Northside Hospital, she's able to play tennis again. So I think that's all good news.
Yep, that is good news. And my family's been impacted by breast cancer. I lost one of my grandmothers to breast cancer, and my wife also had breast cancer 14 years ago, and went through surgery, and then also chemo and radiation, and then 5 years of tamoxifen. The good news is she is doing very well. She's very thankful to be alive, to still be among us. And I, too, can say that I tried to get her to come today, but she already had prior commitments, busy living. So I'm very thankful for all the research and the work that has been done for breast cancer and continue to be done. And she also went to Northside Hospital. That's where she was treated and had all her cancer treatment. So we're very thankful. But we really wanted to call attention to this because it is still a very serious disease. And when we said that it can impact someone who has no history of breast cancer in the family, that was the case with my wife. There was nobody who had ever had breast cancer. And she is of Asian descent, and generally you don't see breast cancer in Japanese and Chinese. You don't have the incidence as high as others. So we were kind of caught by surprise, but very thankful for the outcome and for the research that continues to be done. And now what I guess we'd like to do is any of you in the audience who have been impacted with your family, if you'd like to come forward and receive one of the proclamations, we'd like to have you come forward and join us for a picture down in the council with us also.
Okay. And thank you guys for presenting this. And again, we're all very thankful that you both have a successful outcome.
I do. Very well.
So I'd like to present this to Joe.
Okay. Got to shift one full step for me. Perfect. One, two, three. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3. Let's check. Super, thank you.
But it is close. Eighth grade. Be a freshman next year.
And again, our thoughts and prayers are there for all people and women and their families that are either have gone through or being affected by breast cancer. And again, I'll repeat that we're thankful that both you guys, your families, have had a successful outcome. All right, Sudie, if you'll please sound our final item under reports and presentations.
This item this evening is discussion of concept plans for Hopewell Road at Bethany Bend, Bethany Way. Miss Sarah Leaders.
And I believe we have some public comment cards that are getting filled out for this item, so
Okay.
don't know if want me to go ahead with the presentation or wait
You
till
can,
those.
you can go ahead with the presentation, and then we'll accept the public comment cards and give sometimes after they hear the presentation, that may help them with their, questions and whatnot.
Okay. All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight we have a presentation on the concept development for Hopewell Road at Bethany Bend, Bethany Way, Bethany Oaks. So just to go through the history of the project, back in July and August of 2013, we did some initial concept work, and then in 2016 had funding identified to continue the project. So July of 2017 kicked off the project with T-SPLOST funding, updated traffic counts, and then did a peer review to get a third-party engineering firm to look at the alternatives and provide feedback. In August, came to you at the work session and discussed all the alternatives that had been considered, and then the two that we were going to start meeting with stakeholders on to discuss. So in September, we did stakeholder outreach, and October put out a public input survey, and then we're here tonight to go over that survey results as well as the concept development. So on the public input, met with 6 different properties that are adjacent to the intersection, and then met with the Bethany Oaks community. For our online survey, we've had over 900 responses, and the first question on the survey is ask if the respondent is a resident of Milton, and 96% of those were, and to determine how frequently the respondent uses the intersection, asked a question based on that, and 85% use it weekly. So these are some general percentages from the survey results. So asked if traffic was an issue at Bethany Bend and Bethany Way. You can see those percentages. And then at Bethany Bend, asked a comparison of first if a turn lane would improve conditions, and then if a roundabout would improve conditions. So we didn't ask the two in the same question, but those were the percentages. So almost 70% said a roundabout would improve conditions there. And now I'm going to turn it over to our consultant. Andrew Entweiler is going to come talk about the traffic from Pond and Company.
Good evening, Council. So this is our location of Hopewell Road at Bethany Way and Bethany Bend. And we, as part of this concept development effort, looked at a number of different alternatives. There's 4 listed here. We looked at dual roundabouts at Bethany Way and Bethany Bend. We looked at one roundabout in the middle at Bethany Oaks Drive. We also looked at turn lane improvement options, as well as what if we installed one roundabout at the Bethany Bend location. And there's a few minor alternatives that we're discussing with the Bethany Oaks subdivision on access. So I'll review briefly. We did collect new traffic counts. We looked at the capacity analysis of the intersections. This lists the 3 intersections in the study. And as you can see from an existing condition standpoint, the intersections have a failing level of service, have a long delay for the stop-controlled side streets during the AM and the peak periods. And that's when you see the most congestion out there and the most delay. So we also have indicated here something we call a volume to capacity ratio, a VC ratio, and that gives you an idea of how much the intersection, how much that stop-controlled approach is operating over the capacity of that stop control based on the opposing mainline traffic volumes. And I'll refer to that in a minute. So the intersection at Bethany Way and intersection at Bethany Bend both exhibit extreme delay during the AM and PM peak hours over 1 V over C ratio. We also looked at crash histories and wanted to identify concepts that would improve safety at all 3 intersections. We performed, as we stated, multiple alternatives analysis. We also looked at an opening year of 2020, a 10-year design of 2030, and a design year of 2040, making sure that whatever improvement we recommended would accommodate future growth expected in the area. And you can see there for our opening year analysis, we utilized a 4% per year growth rate based on recent trends. And then the design year, we grew that traffic an additional 1% per year. So this led to our capacity analysis for the design year, and there's lots of numbers. I'll try to just boil it down to, we looked at 4 different alternatives, and the dual roundabouts, and the one roundabout located at Bethany Oaks Point, we found early on did not provide as much benefit and continued to have delay for the Bethany Way and Bethany Bend approaches. So highlighted in orange there are the approaches which have a high V over C ratio. So we moved on from those 2 alternatives to look more at the turn lanes option and then this option of a roundabout at Bethany Bend. And my colleague Arwen Lopez will come up in a few minutes and explain the concepts for these last 2. So what you can take away from the alternative 3 and 4 is that the turn lanes, providing turn lanes at the intersections without signal control, maintaining stop control, really does not address the volumes and adjust the delay at these intersections. The alternative 4 with the one roundabout at Bethany Bend is recommended as the preferred alternative because that addresses safety at the intersection of Bethany Bend. It slows vehicles traveling through the intersection in that area, as well as reduces the delay for that westbound approach in the PM peak hour. So those are the results of the capacity analysis. And then I'll ask my colleague Arwen to come up and explain the concepts.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Mayor and Council. So as Sarah was mentioning, we had the various alternatives that we looked at, and we did it down to two alternatives that we presented to stakeholders, various stakeholders. We actually met with 6 of these stakeholders, all within the vicinity of the project. And we essentially presented the turn lane option. And the thing with the turn lane option is that this does not address the high speed throughout the intersection. We did hear that a lot from a lot of the stakeholders. That they told us that they see vehicles flying through here at high rate of speed. And also there's a lot of accidents that they've seen at these intersections, and very particular in Bethany Bend intersection. So speed is a part of the issue here, and I believe that this alternative does not address it. So we proceeded on with our preferred alternative, which is the roundabout at Bethany Bend. With this alternative, this addresses the speed issue, and also at the same time, at the intersection of Bethany Bend, it makes it for a safer intersection, slowing down vehicles and allowing them to make that left turn, that primary left turn movement in the morning, and in the afternoon, the peak hour movement coming from Stair Route 9 or from the east side, wanting to make a right onto Hopewell Road. So in addition to that, we've also done on the Bethany Way intersection, what we've tried to do there is to add a median over here, as you can see, in order to alert the drivers that there's a change in the circumstances here where it's for the most part a rural section, but then you have a median here, which would alert people to slow down. In addition to that, we would be clearing out and provide a better sight line here. There's some shrubbery along this corner here, which impedes people to look over and make a left. So again, these were the alternatives that we presented. We met with the HOA members. There was a concern about how the Bethany Oaks Point residents would ingress and egress out of their subdivision, and we presented them with the option, as you can see at the bottom here. So potentially doing a raised island so that they can have a refuge and focus their efforts once they come out and in one direction of travel, and then they can also, once they're in the median, they can just have to consider only one other movement here. We did hear their concerns, and with that, we've looked at, again, sorry, this is a little bit of a zoom in of that option here along Hopewell Road. But again, they had their concerns, and with that option still, and we've developed another alternative which has a road within their subdivision, which allows them to come in through their parking lot and access Bethany Bend and make a go into the roundabout and head south if they prefer. I think that would address their concern of the high volume of traffic and people with their high rate of speed and not being able to get out of their subdivision. And again, as we developed this option, we also heard that, we could potentially come up with another option that would make it a little bit easier flow for them to get out of their subdivision. And again, I think that we've heard great feedback, and a lot of the residents see the need for this project and trying to obviously address their concerns. And there are smaller or finer details that we still have to work out, and namely, I think in particular, it's the access or egress to Bethany Oaks Point. And Sarah will talk to us about our next steps.
Sir, can I break in for 1 second? And did we have any public comment cards turned in, Sudie?
Not turned in yet, sir.
Okay, I might ask, and before you would that be okay if we get some public comment
sure.
now and then? Mm-hmm. So yes, if anybody has public comment, if they would turn their card in. Sure. Okay, Sudi, if you'd please call first speaker.
First of all, I apologize for not being able to get that before the meeting. It's a little difficult to get here at 6 o'clock.
That's right. Oh, 1 second, just for housekeeping, Sudi, if you'd please call the first.
This first speaker is Mark Godwin.
Yeah, just for the record. Okay,
No
Mark,
worries,
now,
no worries.
if you'd state your name and address for the record.
My name is Mark Godwin. I'm speaking on behalf of the Bethany Oaks Oakstone Glen Property Owners Association. All right.
Okay.
First of all, I want to express my appreciation and our appreciation to Ms. Leaders and the consultants that you've been working with. During the meeting with us, it got a little excited and animated, primarily because of the significant concerns we have for the safety of our families trying to exit that neighborhood. As you can imagine already, I think the most colorful description was Frogger. Trying to get out of that neighborhood anytime, between the hours of 7 and 9 a.m. and certainly again from 4:30 to 7 or 6:30 p.m. The initial concern with the initial plan was twofold. First of all, you were increasing the flow of traffic around and northbound, especially in the evenings, and secondly, you were adding an additional northbound lane. So we're already trying to cross one lane of northbound traffic, and now we had to cross two. So there was a lot of concern around there, and we believe that the addition of that additional exit lane leading into Bethany Bend is an excellent alternative. As when Ms. Leader sent that plan to us, I actually initiated an email string around the neighborhood to gather feedback from the neighborhood, and did not receive a single dissenting comment on that. So thank you again for the consideration, and quite honestly, as a member of the board as president of the HOA, I can commit to continue to work with your team to find the right solution in one of those layouts, as long as we can. A couple of things. Number one of the property owners is here. Make sure that we stay clear of their property lines, and then ideally maintain the aesthetics, the greenery, some of those things. Obviously, there's some sacrifices and trade-offs that had to be made, but if we can work together in the city, I think we can find a great resolution. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, Sudi, is there any more public comment?
That's all, sir.
All right, Sarah, sorry about that.
So our remaining steps on the project, tonight we'd like to take any comments, and over the next couple weeks to finalize our concept plan. And then we'll start getting our design contract together with Pond to come up with the design drawings. We'll include in that some landscaping and the aesthetic improvements we can do with Bethany Oaks. And then we'll move into right-of-way acquisition and construction. So those are the remaining steps on the project. And so if there's any comments or questions, we'll take those.
Anybody have any comments or questions? Rick?
Yeah, Sarah, a question on Bethany Way. I drive that way almost every morning, so I'll see it backed up on Bethany Way, and then you have the traffic stopped going southbound on Hopewell, and they're competing. Although most people are polite, and they kind of go every other car to let people go so the traffic doesn't get stopped. I noticed you had, it looked like maybe a car or a car and a half for a left-hand turn lane. Is there any way you can extend that? Because I just know, assuming we're going to see increased traffic coming from different places, I would think we'd want to design that with a little bit more opportunity, so you don't have, if you've got more than two cars or a car and a half that wants to turn left, you don't stop all the right-hand turn traffic, blocking it back.
Another item we did consider there was if we just allowed only the right out, and I'll let Pond talk to the storage distance, but if we had that left turn, use the roundabout to make the left rather than stacking beyond. I think there's maybe 2 car lengths there, but did you have anything else to add, Arlen, about
What's that?
the storage on Bethany?
Well, that's what that meant. You may want to drive them.
Sorry. So I guess it's this movement, correct?
This one.
Oh, I'm sorry. This one here.
No, the left
Yep.
on Bethany Way.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing, I think one of the concerns again here was yes for them making that left. We at some point even talked about restricting that left and making it a right out only, and for them to go in through the roundabout. A lot of people, at least the stakeholders that we talked to about, felt safer in that sense. So that's an option that we're considering. It was essentially restricting that left from Bethany Way.
And that may actually solve it. I just know I live over by Highway 9 and Bethany Bend, and I just know if you get a few cars, you'll lose the whole chance to get through. So maybe that right-hand turn, if you get more input, that may be the right way, and then have them circle through the roundabout to go north. Because otherwise, you have a couple cars there, they could block everybody who's trying to turn right just so they could take the left. Because if you give them the option, they're going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and correct. I mean, I think, again, people have been very open. And yes, you are correct. I mean, a lot of people are very courteous, luckily, in this intersection.
Yep.
But yeah, I think they have been very open to restricting that left and having to go in through the roundabout.
And most of the traffic, at least in the AM, is all going south. They all want to turn right. That's what I've seen. They sit there. I haven't seen one person that wants to go north on Hopewell.
Yeah.
And I think that's when you came up with that other idea to actually feed onto Bethany Bend, I think that makes perfect sense, because if I lived in Bethany Oaks Point trying to come out and turn left or right, I know today it's very difficult for those folks. Thanks. Thank you.
So the access road that goes behind the tennis courts off of Bethany Bend, that's the residents come out and they have to go right? As if
Correct. Yes, they would have to go into the roundabout.
Okay, so no left turn?
No left turn.
And how will you keep people from accessing that from Bethany Bend, trying to take a right-hand turn?
So I guess we could be potentially with signage, but what we've done here on this corner, and I could probably do a little more zoom in here, it would be essentially to create a small radius between this here, so that it's aligned better for them to come out and make a right and impede that left turn in.
I think it's a great idea. I just want to I live just up where Kings Ridge and the poles are in the ground, and those come out all the time. So I just want to make sure that everyone's safe, and that when people are, in a hurry, either way, I think it's a great idea. I just wanted to understand how we're going to keep people from taking a right in there, or coming out and taking, a left, which I don't think, I think they'll probably hit the roundabout, and that'll be a great solution. So.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I just want to agree with Rick on I would prefer, at least because I make that too also, if the traffic flow is going to be even better, taking that left is going to be even harder, which would probably potentially just back it up even more. So if it was a right only, of course I'm not the traffic engineer, but I think that would probably that makes sense. If it's just a right only, it'd probably be safer. That's just my 2 cents.
Okay. Anybody else?
And I'll say too, Red Road, provides that same east-west that connects over to Haygood. So it's not like it would be displacing, that left turn too far out of the way for someone that didn't want to go through the roundabouts.
All right. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you guys for being here tonight and
Thank you.
making this presentation, and thanks for the feedback from the public too on this. Sweetie, if you'll please sound the first presentation item.
This item is consideration of ZM 18-02, VC 18-08, located at the southeast quadrant of Birmingham Highway and Birmingham Road by OHC Birmingham LLC, 22.12 acres in 2nd District, 2nd Section, land lots 379, 380, 413, and 414. First, request to modify ZM 14-06, Condition 2A, to the revised site plan received on September 18th, 2018. Second, request to modify ZM 14-03 to delete Condition 6C, the reference to the village green. And third, a concurrent variance to delete the 75-foot undisturbed buffer, and 10-foot improvement setback along the south property line of the mixed zoning district adjacent to AG1, Section 64-1142A3B. Agenda item number 18293.
Okay, do I have a motion on the first presentation item?
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of the first presentation.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion of approval from Councilmember Kuntz with a second from Councilmember Bentley. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. All right, let's move on to our public hearing. Sudi, if you'll please sound the first item.
First item, under our alcohol beverage license applications, consideration of the issuance of an alcohol beverage license to Compania Milton LLC, doing business as Compania, 12635 Crabapple Road, Suite 310, Milton, Georgia, 3004. Agenda item number 18294. Ms. Bernadette Harville.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This organization will be taking over the occupancy where 850 was prior. They are applying for consumption on premises for wine, malt beverage, and distilled spirits. They have met all of our requirements, and staff recommends approval.
Okay, do we have any public comment on this?
We do not, sir.
I'll close the hearing and then open. Is there any questions for Bernadette on this? Not, I'll open up for a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve agenda item number 18-294.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Longoria with a second from Councilmember Kuntz for approval. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you, Bernadette. So, Sudi, if you'll please call the next public hearing item.
This item is consideration of the issuance of an alcohol beverage license to 7 Acre Barn Grill, LLC, doing business as 7 Acre Barn Grill, 850 Hickory Flat Road, Milton, Georgia, 3004. Agenda item number 18295. Ms. Bernadette Harville.
This organization will be taking over the occupancy where Wilburn Rudy's was formerly, and they are also applying for consumption on premises for wine, malt beverage, and distilled spirits. They are in compliance, and staff recommends approval.
Okay, do we have any public comment on this one?
We do not, sir.
Okay, I'll close down a hearing. Open up for questions or for motion. Go ahead. Question.
Do we know when they're going to open? Just curious.
They are currently going to be under a temporary, and I'm not sure of their current build out, but a lot of times what we'll have with the alcohol is they have 6 months to serve. Okay. So they'll get that all in order and in place, and then they'll continue finishing up with their construction and CO process.
Okay, thank you.
Joe?
Is it 7 Acre
Barn Grill
or Bar and Grill?
I double checked. Barn Grill.
Barn Grill. Never been to one of those.
It's Milton. All right, do I have a motion?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve agenda item number 18-295.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion from Councilmember Bentley with a second from Councilmember Kuntz for approval. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous.
Thank you,
Bernadette. Okay, we don't have any items under our zoning presentation or our zoning agenda, so we'll move on to new business. Sudi, if you'll please sound the first new business item.
This item is consideration of a project agreement between the City of Milton and the State of Georgia Department of Natural Resources for the construction of an ADA accessible trail at Providence Park. Agenda item number 18-296, Mr. Jim Craig.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. What we have before you is a project agreement between the City of Milton and the Department of Natural Resources Recreation Trail Grant Program. To refresh your memory, November 2017, we came before you and requested your approval on a pre-application, which committed the city that if we were selected, we would honor our side of the deal, which is to come up with the minimum funding called for it. Through the hard work of Michelle McIntosh Ross and Bob Buscemi, the city, we are formally been given a grant of $200,000 from the Recreation Trail Grant Program for Department of Natural Resources. And so this action here requests that you approve the project agreement between the city and the Department of DNR, the purpose of which is that we will be doing a modification of the red trail at Providence Park to make that trail ADA accessible. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Okay, any questions?
I just have a comment. So I wanted to just make sure I recalled this. We went from 10 feet down to 8 feet
Yes, ma'am.
for tree save, and the time frame for this to start is 2019?
We need to get started on this quite quickly. Money has to be spent within 2019. I think we can go into 2020 to complete it if we have project delays.
So I would just suggest when we do start that we would let the adjacent property owners know and communicate that to the park goers, because they're very, vested in the park. So great job. Thank you.
Yeah, Michelle and Bob did a great job on that. I'm very proud of them.
Okay. Do you have any public comment on this, Sudi?
We do not, sir.
Okay. I'll open up for a motion if there's no other questions.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve agenda item number 18-296.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Councilmember Bentley with a second by Councilmember Morag. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. All right, Sudi, if you'll please call the next item, and Jim, if you'll just stay where you are.
Yes, sir.
This is our last item of the evening, consideration of a resolution of the City of Milton authorizing a pre-application for a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant with the Department of Natural Resources, agenda item number 18-297. Mr. Jim Craig.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is to remind you, at this time last year, we came before you to ask your approval for a pre-application for a grant with the Department of Natural Resources Land and Water Conservation Fund. You may recall we did this last year. We are still awaiting the final official notification of last year's application, but we are in the cycle now for the 2018 application, and this would be a $100,000 grant matched by $100,000 on behalf of the city. Working again with Mr. Buscemi and Michelle McIntosh Ross, we have come up with a plan to be able to use this money, should we be fortunate enough to have it awarded to us, to work on another component of Providence Park that was approved, that being a fishing pier, and we add a little shade area of a small pavilion over it, and to give folks safe access to the water for catch and release fishing. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer it at this time.
Matt?
Yeah, Jim, last year, was it the same dollar figures for the last one?
Yes, it's identical to last year.
Exactly. And I didn't see, I saw in the one that we just passed that was in the budget. Do we have $100,000 in the budget for this one as well?
Yes, we do.
Okay, just making sure. That was it.
Any other questions? We have any public comments, Sudi?
We do not, sir.
Okay, I'll open up for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve agenda item number 18-297.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Coons with a second from Councilmember Jameson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Okay, move on to reports and presentations. Anything the council wants to report on? Anybody? Okay, I'll move on to staff. Steve, you got anything? Or
just move forward with community development.
Okay.
Could be Carter's last time doing it. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a few quick things for you tonight. A couple of zoning modifications coming forward here over the next few weeks. First zoning modification is the southeast quadrant at Birmingham Highway and Birmingham Road. This is a development we saw about 6 months ago, coming back for reconsideration on a couple of items for that particular site plan. You'll be seeing that at the November 5th meeting. The second one we've got coming forward is going to be the park at Bethany. This is the piece of property right across from Cambridge High School. They've got a couple of modifications to the site plan to try and assist with the developer who's looking at building on those lots. So they're coming forward with a couple of changes to those conditions. The CZIM for that will be next Wednesday, October 30th. And you'll see that at the November 19th Mayor and Council meeting. Last one we're looking at right now is the rezoning on Hopewell Road. This is a piece of property that they're asking to go from AG1 to an R3A. Currently, the site plan shows 73 lots on this particular piece of property. So they'll be coming through, currently scheduled for Planning Commission for Wednesday. We understand that they're going to ask for deferment. So rather than hearing that at the November 19th meeting, if that is actually requested and accepted by the Planning Commission, we'll probably hear that at the council meeting sometime in December. So those are the three main things coming forward. And if you have any questions, please feel free. I'll be glad to answer them.
Okay, are there any questions for Parker? All right, thank you, sir. Move on to finance.
I am happy to report this evening that the city's fiscal year 2017 comprehensive annual financial report received the GFOA's Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the 10th consecutive year. Submissions began back in 2008. FY18's audit preparation is underway. As you may recall, you will not see September financial statements, as they will be in that audited financial statement contained within the CAFR. Our auditors will be on site for preliminary procedures on December 19th and 20th, and they'll be back at the end of January for field work. Our FY19 budget cycle has begun, and we have submitted our recently approved budget for the GFOA Distinguished Budget Presentation Award Program for the first time, and we are very anxious to see the review and the feedback we get from GFOA on the budget book. We have also begun the interview process in finance for the part-time revenue specialist that will help process tax payments this year, as well as alcohol beverage license renewals and occupational tax certificates. Taxes are due November 14th. ABL renewals will be due November 15th. And then the occupational tax certificate renewals will be mailed in December and due around March 31st. That's it for finance.
Okay, any questions? Thank you very much. Okay, is there anything else, staff or council have anything else? If not, well, I don't think I have anything else on the agenda, so that'll conclude this meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.